The stats don't lie. The number of Canadians living with dementia or Alzheimer's is growing. As of 2016, there are more than 500,000 Canadians living with the disease. In 15 years, that number is expected to rise to almost 1 million and cost Canada's healthcare system over $16 billion a year. It will also obviously impact a lot of lives, including Jann Arden's. You probably know her for her music. I've got a good mother. And for that wicked, self-deprecating wit.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. You got hooters like this that get in the way of everything. Everything.
Hey, really nice to meet you. Really nice.
But these days, we're seeing a new side of Jann Arden, one she kept private for a long time. The world within a life caring for her aging parents who'd been married for nearly 60 years. Her father had dementia, among other things, and died in 2015. Her mother has Alzheimer's and is declining. Living with that and them is the basis of her new book, Feeding My Mother. It's recipes, remembrances, pictures of the literally lonely road and the little joys. I met up with Jann Arden to talk over tea at the Drake Hotel in Toronto.
What was the first moment you realized that something was happening with your mom?
My sister-in-law had been over. My brother and her had a cat, and the cat passed away. And she's like, for heaven's sakes, the cat died yesterday. Don't say anything to him about the cat dying. She must have said it to us 10 times. My mom said, we would never say anything about the cat dying. I'm like, no, it's cool. You tell him. Phone rang. 30 seconds later, it is my brother on the phone, just saying hello to my mom. First thing she said, well, your cat died. And I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I thought, this just isn't forgetting where your car is parked. This just isn't forgetting how to set the clock radio or little banal things that happen in day-to-day life. This is, something's wrong. And I ignored it for probably another 2.5 years. I just chalked it up to garden variety memory loss, although I knew it was much more horrible.
So your mom starts losing her memory, and nobody really talks about it.
Nope.
But then your dad's sick too.
Yep, dementia. But he had a different kind of dementia. He had more physical problems. My mom was his caretaker. And I can't explain what happens within the construct of how a person operates, but my mom's operation manual told her to look after my dad and to do these tasks, which she was very capable of doing. But I also knew it was making her worse.
Was your mom aware of your dad's decline?
They were so hilarious, Adrian, the two of them. Like, well, he's completely insane. He can't do anything. And I'm thinking, you are a close second. Let me tell you what, the two of you.
Is that why you started to write it down? Because you thought, how am I ever going to convey this?
I was actually really scared. And I remember typing, sitting on my couch, and I'd always kind of written journals. I guess they call them blogs now. And I'd always kind of written journals, but I'd never written about my folks, because I, of course, am in denial completely about any of this happening, that they're going to get better. And I wrote it down, just that the stuff was going on. I can't even remember the first entry, but I know my office called me the next day and they said, have you noticed what's going on with your Facebook page? Basically, 1 million people have seen your entry. And I just was shocked. And along with that, we had 4,000 comments. And it hit me for the first time. I bawled my head off trying to read through them because it made my problem seem so insignificant.
Is that the first time you felt a little less lonely?
Yes. I don't know why there's so much shame involved with memory loss and with Alzheimer's.
But what is the shame part? What is there to be ashamed of in terms of memory loss?
It's shameful. Like when I stood in the room with Mom and I'd hear her just off to the side repeating a story for like the 10th time. And I had a friend going, it's okay. And I was ashamed. I'd be like, oh my God, she's on the 10th time, because I was so scared and so angry that it just came across as this, I was an asshole to my mom quite a lot of the time. When this started happening, very brief with her. I was the memory police. I'd correct her. I'm still very much in denial. We haven't had the official diagnosis of Alzheimer's at this point. So I'm fighting it. I'm correcting her. If she saw, oh, there's people with orange hats in your yard, I'd be like, where? Where are they? And I'm so scared, but I felt myself go into this person that I hate so much. Thank God she's gone now, but I would take Mom and I'd say, let's go. Let's walk across the yard and let's go see where these people are. That's what I actually did. She was defiant. She still is to this day. Jan, I know you can't see them, but I can, and they're right there.
Did it ever hurt her though?
There was lots of tears. There was lots of stuff of her and I standing in the driveway. It lasted for probably 18 months, 20 months, especially when I had people come and start helping. I'd say, Mom, you can't be alone here. When I'm working, you can't be alone. And when they started coming 2.5 years ago, there was those goddamn homeless women, and they're doing all their goddamn laundry in the house. This is my mom who never swore in her life.
She thought homeless women had moved into the house.
And it's very volatile. There's a lot of crying on my part by myself because she'd say, I hope you get this. You're the worst person. You're the worst daughter. And it was so hard. I just said, Mom, I'm doing what you would probably do for me. I would never do this to you. I would never have people in your home. And I was so trapped. I had, friends that would say, you should start looking at places. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to just give up. I don't even know what I'm doing yet.
I want to ask you about your dad, and I am sorry. It's wrenching to read about him dying. What was that day like for you inside your head?
He had rallied many times. I thought he'll come around. And my little brother's like, no, I don't think so this time. I mean, he was unconscious. They were giving him morphine, but it was the most god-awful thing I've ever seen. My mother, sitting in the corner, said, would it kill them to give him a lozenge? She had no idea. Alzheimer's is a gift in that department. Tempers sentiment somehow. She wasn't crying or anything.
So the Alzheimer's sort of smoothed the edges of her grief.
My mom is not sentimental anymore. My old mother would have been so besieged with grief. I think it would have killed her. But this version of my mom, she said, well, he sure put a damper on my birthday. She knew it was her birthday.
You asked her at one point if she thought she'd forget you.
She said, my mind might, but my heart won't. It was a very hard thing to hear. She will forget me at some point. She still knows who I am now. Oh, it's you. It's the weirdest things that go. She phoned me one day and she goes, you have to come over here and show me how to use this phone. I said, well, you're on the phone right now. I'm not. I said, you are on the phone. Well, for God's sakes. I'm like, that's pretty good, Mom. I'm sure one of the care workers helped her. She says, well, how do I hang it up? I said, follow that cord down to the click. She hung it up.
Are you scared for your own health?
Yeah, crosses my mind. But we all have our roads to walk. But chances are pretty good that I could very well have memory loss. It is something that's pretty prevalent these days. But hopefully I'll do it with some grace and style like my mom does.
I know there is this hunger that people want to hear what you have to say because I think they need to hear that they're not alone. What would you tell them about what to be careful of?
The day the tides turn for me, it's a relatively simple thing. My mom had once again pointed out to me that there was people on my deck, always with the orange hats. I felt this part of my spine, go up. Oh, here we go again. And I just went, oh, well, you'd think they could pick up a broom. And it was the nicest thing because she said, well, you'd think they could. And we were done. We were just off onto something else. I go where my mom goes now. Alzheimer's, you better not deal with the future. You just have to deal with the day because there is no future. You cannot plan. You cannot live like that. You have to be where you are. End of story.
Good spot to end. Jann Arden, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.